What up, world? It's Dana Harris, Mr. Make Math Cool again, and we're continuing with our series of videos on fourth grade fractions. Now, we're transitioning a little bit from fractions to decimals now because every fraction has an equivalent decimal form of it. So in fourth grade, this is the first time students are really introduced to decimals. So we're going to go into that. And now in the previous video, we talked about how they write equivalent fractions with a denominator of 10 and 100. Now, in fourth grade, they don't work with fractions decimals that are larger than the place value of hundredths. Okay, so they're only going to have decimals that have two places to the right of the decimal. So as you can see behind me, I have a place value chart, so to speak. It's a small one. There's many more spaces, but we'll show those in later as the curriculum increases the place value. Okay, so let's take the example of 81 over 100. Okay, now 81 over 100. There are several ways that you can read this, and in different countries they even read this different. But we say 81 hundredths. Okay, with a th. 81 hundredths. Okay, now we can rewrite that as a decimal. So 81 hundredths is a decimal. Actually, I don't even want to put it here yet. Let's put it in the table. So let's say we have a 0 in the ones place because it is a fraction, and then we have 81. Notice the hundredths place. Okay, now we can break this down and write it in several ways. We can expand it. So this tells me that we have 8/10. So this is the same thing as having 8/10 plus 1/100ths. Okay, and although those have different denominators, we know that the 8/10 is equivalent to 80 hundredths. Okay, and so this kind of connects to the previous lesson. Now remember, math is all interconnected, and so these videos are progressive. They build on the way that the Common Core curriculum is structured so that it's progressive. So this part right here where you see 8/10 over plus 1/100th, that is from the previous standard that they focus on. Okay, so this is an expanded form. Now we have to also in this standard be able to help our students identify these values on a number line. Okay, so remember the number line that they're using only goes from 0 to 1. So I'm going to put a 0 here. I'm going to put a 1 here. I'm going to go halfway there. And this time we're going to use, we're writing decimals. Okay, so that's 0.0. And then here halfway between there is going to be 0.5, which is 5/10. We definitely want to talk the language, okay? So, and then we have, let's see. So, 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, and 4/10. So then we have 6/10. 7/10, 8/10, and I actually labeled this incorrectly. 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, so I kind of stretched it out a little bit. Let's correct that for a second. I'm entitled to 3 mistakes a week, so it's all good. All right, so 6/10. 7/10, 8/10, and then 9/10. Okay, so let's see, where does 81 hundredths go on a number line? Okay, now we know that it's 8/10. It's somewhere between 8/10 and 9/10, but it's quite closer to, if it has 100th with it, it's closer to 8/10 than it is to 9/10. So we can say 0.81 goes about right there on a number line, okay? So it's very, very important that we make that connection to where these numbers lie on a number line. So once again, we took 81 hundredths and we converted it to a decimal. Now, typically these are simpler to write or to transpose from fraction to decimal because, for example, with tenths, 8/10, I can, if I know place value, it's just 0.8, okay? And as you can see here, 100th is 0.01, okay? So these are we're doing our introduction to decimals, but we want to keep it very, very simple, okay? We're only going to the hundredths place. So stick with me. Young Guru's Math Tutoring. I got the solution to your math problems.